This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm out here at the new Matchroom gym. Well, I'm outside of it now, and I'm delighted to be joined by Tony Sims. Tony, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Andy. Good to see you, mate.
You too, mate. First and foremost, why the change? How come the new gym?
Just because it's bigger, as you see, you got the floor downstairs for the boxing, and then upstairs you got like the S&C room upstairs, and so it just divides it up, gives me more space. And that's the reason, really. I think the last gym I was at, it was a great gym, but I was running out of space. I was like buying new machines, and there wasn't anywhere to put them, so you couldn't really add to what we had there. So with this gym here, we can add new machinery in. It's just a whole better space to train in.
You've obviously been at the old Matchroom gym for some time, so I take it was a difficult goodbye, shall we say? Some happy memories there?
Yeah, there was good memories there. I mean, Eddie Coventry, who I rented the gym off of, sadly passed away last year with the COVID. So it was a bit of a loss to us, really, because we used to see Eddie every day in the gym. He used to come in every day, and he was a big supporter of what we was doing. And so we missed him, really. And as I say, like, there was good memories there. A lot of my fighters won titles from that gym, so it was good memories. But it was time to move on, and as I say, we've got bigger premises now, and it's just a lot better to work in.
Let's just, before we move forwards, we'll move backwards, as I haven't had a chance to speak to you since Las Vegas. Obviously, Martin Ward falling short against Fuzile. Just reflecting on it for me, Tony, I know it was the leg injury, which ultimately was the deciding factor in the fight, but what did you make of it up until the point when you had to stop it?
Yeah, like, Martin was in tremendous condition for the fight. Unfortunately, he done his a crucial ligament in his knee, and it like happened 3 weeks before, and just a freak thing in sparring. He was just sparring, and he just went on the floor, and it was a freak thing. But he'd been wearing a knee brace for the rest of the training and done bike work instead of running. But he was in fantastic condition. Like, he'd had a long camp, and still confident going into the fight. And it was funny because the week of the fight, he said, like, I think my knee feels like it's okay now. He weren't wearing a knee brace. He felt like it was all right. But obviously, if you see in the fight, he had a little clash of knees, and you just see the knee go on him. And once that happened, he had no balance with his front leg, and then he got caught. And I was just ready to, throw the towel in then, really. Because I knew that he ain't going to be able to withstand any punches coming at him. Yourself, if you just have a dead leg for a few seconds, you can't stand up properly, let alone, your ligament going on you. So, it was a shame, really, because I felt like he got clipped early in the fourth. Didn't really hurt him, but I felt like he started to coming into the fight, and as I say, he was in great condition to march on for the 12 rounds. But it is what it is, It probably the opportunity probably come a little bit late for him in his career as well. He was probably ready to do this sort of fight a year or two ago, but obviously because of COVID, and he didn't get the fight till late. And he's done everything domestically. He won a Lonsdale belt outright, Commonwealth and European title, so he's done that. So really, he's got to make the decision whether he wants to go on or not. I mean, I haven't spoken to him since the fight, only by text message, so no doubt we'll have a meeting and see what he wants to do.
I mean, what are your opinions at the minute? Do you think we will see Martin return, or do you think he might step away?
I don't know that. I always really leave that decision to the fighter, because it's them who gets in the ring, and he has to take the shots and put themselves through the mill with the training and that. But I mean, at world level, if you look at it at world level, I mean, he's 30, turns 30 next month. At world level, it's going to take, another 2 years or whatever to get back to that sort of position again, and big fights. And I don't really know whether he'd want to put himself through that again. And, if he wants to drop to domestic, there's nothing really at domestic he can do that he's already done. So, the decision's up to him, really. But if you look at his career, he's had a good career. he ain't been silly with his money. He's been wise and put his money into business. So you know, for his future, he's one of the few that's probably going to be all right. But as I say, I'll leave that decision up to him when we meet and let him decide what he wants to do.
Tony, moving forwards, but on to another man who was not here today, John Ryder. Now, it seems to be a bit of a messy situation with John with regards to what could have been next. Originally, he was looking to face David Morrell. That went to purse bids. And obviously, this past weekend, David Morrell had fought somebody else in a voluntary defence of his regular title. Just want to get your take on the entire situation and scenario.
Yeah, it's a really difficult situation he's in, really, John, because obviously Canelo's ruling the roost at super middleweight, you know, and he owns 3 of the titles, and the other title, IBF, we know he's going to fight Caleb Plant in September for that, so that's all the titles taken up. And then you've got like one other title, which is a WBA regular, that John's mandatory for now. The WBA called for purse bids, and we thought that that fight was done for the 26th, which was on Sunday. We thought that was all done, that fight. And then like John's training for quite a while for the fight because we knew it was going to happen. And you know, he'd started his sparring and everything. And then the next thing, you know, I just read on social media, like say 4 weeks before the fight, that he's fighting somebody else. I think Eddie sent a legal letter to the WBA, and they've come back and basically saying that he's got to fight John next and blah blah. But I don't know really. It's just like sitting around as well. It don't do of someone of John's age as well. It don't do him any good. Like from the Callum Smith fight to the fight that he had in December was over a year, and you know, and he was well rusty on that fight. When you're older, you get more rust in you, obviously, you know, and he wasn't firing all cylinders that night, you know, in America, and he looked out of sorts really, and even though he trained well for the fight. And then I'm thinking, well, you got a bit of rust off you at least. You got like 10 rounds under your belt. June the 26th, a good date, you know, it's like 6 months later. And now this is gone all up in the air, and now we don't know when he's going to fight next. There was talk of him fighting Bivol next. Eddie mentioned that to me, and but I just don't know really. He's just in no man's land, you know. He's still ticking over training, but I don't really know. I feel sorry for him really, because he's an opponent that no one really wants to fight, and you know, I know, like Eddie said to me before, like, you know, he's got to put himself out there and in the public eye, but that ain't in John's makeup, that ain't his personality. He's just a really nice guy. He's a true pro. He does everything correctly, and like he went out to America because Eddie said about going out to America and building your profile in a Canelo fight, and he done that, you know, and built up a little bit of a profile out in the States, but he's just sitting around again, do you know what I mean? It's just like, he must be thinking, what the hell am I doing at this stage of my career? Like, nothing's happening for me. He should have got the decision over Smith, never got the decision, and then just nothing's happening for him. I feel really sorry for him. There ain't nothing I can do for him either, do you know what I mean? So you feel like you just got your hands tied really, but see what happens anyway. He's still ticking over. He's always been a true pro. He'll still tick over, but mentally it must be soul destroying for him really.
Moving away from John, Tony, obviously into a couple of the guys who he's out. Well, there's 3 guys. Firstly, Conor Benn. He's obviously out July 31st. That's about a month away now. Adrian Granados. He wasn't somebody who we'd spoken about when we was in Vegas. So how did you guys kind of come to the conclusion that Conor versus Adrian would be the next right step of his career?
Well, you know, Matchroom put some names to me, and like Adrian Granados stood out as a good name, because it's like the Vargas fight. When I looked at Vargas, I thought like he'll bring good experience for Conor Benn, like, you know, and the same as what I'm thinking of Granados. He'll bring good experience. It's good to be in with an experienced fighter, and you know, mix it up on the inside and on the outside and see what they've got. And they've been in with all the world best, so that's why Granados' name stood out to me. And it's a great learning fight for Conor. he's ranked in every governing body in the world. So yeah, I just think it's a great opponent for him at this stage of his career.
What do you expect from Adrian Granados? Because the one thing some people have mentioned is kind of how much more does he have left to offer. So what are you expecting from him?
Well, he's only 31, so he's not, you know, he's not that old, and he's only been stopped once in his career. That's by Danny Garcia, who's we know is a big puncher. But I just think it's a good fight for Conor. He's going to bring the heat. He likes fighting on the inside. You know, Conor needs to have fights where he's fighting on the inside as well as the outside. You know, Conor can punch with either hand. He's got his dad's DNA in him, and you know, either hand he carries big firepower. So yeah, I think it's a good fight on paper, and it's a good learning fight.
Moving away from Conor and on to Ted Cheeseman. He's obviously down here just ticking over at the minute. What is the plan with Ted?
Well, Eddie mentioned me that the purse bids are going out in July, and that he's going to bid for it. So if he wins that purse bid, it'll be sometime in September, he said to me. So Ted's just ticking over at the minute. He always ticks over, and we're just waiting to see really when the purse bid and when the date is. But it'll be against Troy Williamson, who's his mandatory challenger.
What do you make of Troy?
Troy's good. You know, I remember him on the GB setup. You know, he's been he's been a good amateur, and you know, he's a decent fighter. He's unbeaten. He had a great win last time out against Kieran Smith. So, you know, he's worthy of his shot.
I mean, Joe Cordina also down here today. No official date yet, but what can you tell us about what he's going to be up to next?
Oh no, he's got a date. He's on the 21st of August. That's out in Los Angeles. I think there's a few of the Brits on there, and so he's got his date. It's just ain't been announced yet, and but he ain't got an opponent. So I just know that we're working towards that date, which is about 8 weeks away now, I believe.
On the back of the Corbinov fight, Joe came in for some criticisms. How important is it that he not just wins his next fight, but he looks good doing so?
Yeah, it's very important to him, you know, because everyone's talking here he's a world-class fighter, which he is. But you must understand he was out for 18 months and he'd had a big operation on his hand, massive operation, where they took bone out of his hip and like basically welded it into his metacarpal bone. So, you know, it was a big operation. You know, it wasn't as though he was out and training. He was out of action. So it was a long time off, and thank God the operation was successful, and he's firing on all cylinders now. And you know, hopefully he makes a statement out in the States. I think they would enjoy watching him out there. He's a very skillful fighter, colourful fighter, and you know, people like to watch him. You know, he's nice to watch, and he's got lovely moves on him, and you know, and he, like as I say, he's a world level fighter, and he'll be closing on a world title soon, I would think. I think Matchroom will put him in a decent test in the States, and you know, it's important that he does look good.
Just a couple of other quick things I want to touch on, Tony. One thing which I forgot to ask about Conor, he obviously just recently announced his new 5-fight deal with Matchroom. So talk to me about that and the plans that Eddie and Matchroom are going to look to put into place for him on his route towards world level.
Yeah, you know, he's done a 5-fight deal, and you know, that's all going to accumulate into a world title, and that's what we're looking at, you know. So we're building them world level fights up now. You know, and the next one, you know, providing he gets through Granados, the next one will be, you know, another step up again. And we're going to work towards obviously fighting Ugas for the WBA title. That's where his highest ranking is, and that's the target really. And the 5 fights, that's what it'll accumulate in. Maybe he'll fight on the 4th fight for it, maybe, but the 5th fight he'll definitely be fighting for the world title by then.
And then obviously this past weekend we saw Gervonta Davis return to the ring. Did you watch him, Tony?
I watched the knockout. I know Mario Barrios because when I went to San Antonio with Ricky Burns when he trained for the Figueroa fight, we was based out there, and Ricky done a few spars with Mario. Mario had only had a few fights then, so I know him personally, and I knew he was going to be a tough fight. He's a tough Mexican fighter, and but you know, Davis carries big fire in both hands, and you know, he proved that moving up 2 weights, You know, he proved that, you know, how much ammunition he's got in each hand. He's a dangerous fighter. His record speaks to itself. And, you know, I would imagine he would drop back down maybe to lightweight, which would be more suitable for him. But, I mean, he's going to take some stopping here at his weight.
Vasil Lomachenko also fought this past weekend. After the fight, there's talk about the rematch with Teofimo Lopez. What would be your thoughts, Tony, if we saw it for a second time? Anything different to what we saw first time around?
Yeah, you know, that's a great return fight. I'd like to see Lomachenko versus Davis. That's a great fight, you know, great fight. And but as you say, like the Lopez fight's a great fight, you know, and you got Garcia in there as well. So, you know, they're four terrific fighters out there, and any one of them fights between any of them is going to be a great matchup.
Feel like getting a lightweight yourself, Tony, throwing them in the mix?
Well, I had Ricky, didn't I? But you know, Ricky done well in his career. But yeah, I mean, you got to be special to be mixing it up with them four. You know, really, they're real special fighters. You know, and when you talk about world level, you know, they're them four in a league of their own. You know, you got Devin Haney obviously as well, same thing. You know, so it's a great mix up at that weight, and you know, it'd be good to see them all fight each other.
Final thing, Tony. We spoke about it previously, but Wilder Fury Wilder Free rather. Are you expecting anything different this time around? We saw them have the best part of a 6-minute face-off about a couple of weeks ago now. Are you expecting anything different? What are you making of Deontay's kind of media silence during a press conference and what have you?
Well, we said that last time we're going to see something different, like, and then obviously Fury produced a different fight altogether. With Fury, you don't know what he's going to bring to the table, to be honest. Every time he fights, you can't really say what's going to happen in the fight. He's like a one-off fighter. He's very talented. He can fight in either stance. You know, his brain's obviously brilliant. And he works you out when he's in there, and you don't know what's going to happen in that fight. You still don't know, do you know what I mean? You can see Wilder's well fired up for it, and you know, he's obviously really disappointed to have lost his unbeaten record. But with Fury, I don't know. I don't think Wilder can beat Fury. I think mentally Fury will always beat Wilder, always. And but how he does it, I just don't know, really.
Right, Tony, we will leave it there now. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your day because I know you've got a few things to do. So I appreciate your time. Thank you for inviting me down today, and thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andy. Good to see you down here, mate.